Next, we'll pass it over to Christina Myers, and Christina is going to be talking about creating learning objectives and sharing that example. Christy?
Well, thank you all for your interest here today and whatnot. I think there's been a lot of great examples, and I know I'm learning something new, so I appreciate this. But as was shared before, I'm the curriculum assessment manager in the graduate school, and so one of the ways that I have used Copilot is to help scaffold syllabi and kind of create learning objectives and get ideas for assessments and different components of a course. That we definitely need. Part of the reason I have turned to using tools like Copilot is because I'm not a subject matter expert. And so when it comes to the nuances of, particular subject matter, Copilot can help to create something that faculty can respond to. And it helps my time, it helps their time, and it really cuts down. So what I'm going to demonstrate for you today is kind of how Copilot can help get that course off the ground and create some learning objectives and corresponding assessments. Now, one of the things that I like to do is start a new chat. So if I'm working with a new course or a fresh topic, I like to have that new chat. And to spare you my typos and everything else, I've added the prompt there in the text box. And so essentially what this is asking is saying, I'm creating this new course. I give it some information, topics that I want to include, and I ask for 3 to 5 learning objectives. And so we'll go ahead and we'll see what it comes out with. And it is usually fairly quick. And if not, I do have a backup, so we'll be good. Now, as this kind of writes out, one of the things when tools like Copilot or ChatGPT first came out, if you would ask it to create learning objectives using Bloom's taxonomy, it would give you some funny answers. And so I have seen just in the very short period of time, improvements in the information that is coming out of these tools. So I think that's really positive, but I think it's important to make sure you know what you're looking for with these learning objectives. And so kind of looking at what we have here, we can definitely see that it's structuring these objectives in the way that we're hoping for, with those action verbs and things that are measurable. We want to avoid that word understand. And so what I would do from here is I would then kind of start to build on it. So obviously we have our learning objectives. So let's ask it to create corresponding assessments based on those learning objectives. So we'll add that in there. And this is one of those components, again, where it's important to be aware of what you're putting in and what you're getting out and reviewing that information as it is produced. And so we can see some assessment ideas based on those learning objectives. We see, plans for personal growth, communication, obviously those resilience components, looking for, potential career paths, so on and so forth. So we can see that that the chat is beginning to build on the idea of what this course is going to consist of. Now, if we continue to build on this, let's say we know we want to administer a final exam. We want it to be multiple choice because we have a very large class, but we don't want it to be too burdensome. So we're going to shorten that to 20 questions with 4 options each. So I'm going to ask it to create that exam and create those questions. And this prompt might take a little bit longer, but it should still be fairly quick. And what's really neat too is, again, it's so fast when it does it. And so when you combine this with other tools that Mayo has to offer, like Brightspace, for example, you can really make things incredibly efficient as you're working on a course or working on an instructional activity. So as you can see, it's indicating what that correct answer is, which again is really nice when you're looking to expedite the process here. And it's going to keep going. So we'll let that keep going. And as it goes, one of the things that I will share too that has been helpful is, I create a lot of new courses, and there was recently a statistics course and experimental design course that we've been working on. And I was able to leverage tools like this to create kind of a scaffold, again, for something for the faculty to respond to, which has really made the process of that course design a lot faster. Not that it has removed either the subject matter expert or the education professional, but it definitely has made things a lot more efficient and effective. And it also helps to get creative with some of those assessments. I think it's really easy to turn to multiple choice questions and different things like that. But sometimes you can ask it to come up with prompts for small group questions or for larger class discussions, and different things like that. And maybe I should have asked for only 10 questions instead of 20, but it looks like we're at number 19, so we're getting close there. But just to show you that it will keep going, and it is, quite frankly, fairly quick. Um, Now, one of the things with AI tools and thinking of assessments is, the idea of assessment integrity and exam integrity. And so sometimes what you can do is, again, you can leverage learning management system to create question pools and kind of randomize the questions that are presented to the students. And so depending on how you have that set up, you can ask the same question in multiple ways. And so one of the next prompts that I will ask the tool to come up with is to write question 9 in several different ways. And so what that does is it allows us to essentially evaluate or assess the same learning objective or same item, but just again asking it in that different way. So we don't necessarily need to excuse me, need to come up with a completely different exam or something to that effect. We can just ask different questions and again have the technology randomly bring those questions forward to the student. So we've got that additional one there, and I've got one more prompt to share here. And so this is an example of where it's important to make sure that you have the correct prompt. So as you can see here, please write it in a different way. Okay, well, I need to maybe clarify what I'm saying. So if we ask this prompt where we say write question 9 in 3 different ways and include answer options. So sometimes those wording, that word choice in the prompt can make a big difference. And so here now we're kind of getting at what we're hoping for. So sometimes it takes a little bit of wordsmithing there, but for the most part, it does respond. I don't know if please makes a difference. Sometimes I do use please, and I try to be polite in case that does make a difference in terms of the output. But for the most part, it makes it really nice and efficient when you've got that kind of chat and that conversation ongoing, because the technology will build on what you have, and you can reference things that have been put in or output in that same kind of conversation. So that's how I use it to kind of get those courses off and going and provide the best options for the faculty and students.
Christy, thank you so much for that example. Another incredible example of the use of Copilot